All right, welcome everybody. Happy Friday. Hope you guys are all excited about the weekend coming up. My name is Edna Gonzalez, Mrs. Gonzalez, and welcome to our U.S. History Semester 1 and Quarter 1 study session. We're going to get started here in just a minute, see if anybody else joins. And for now, let's do this. Want to have everybody send me their first and last name so that I can apply extra credit. So just send it. You can send it through private chat. You don't have to share it with everybody. So just make sure, first of all, that you are logged in with a first name and then send me your first and last name. That way, again, I can assign extra credit. And then also, I wanted to do a mic check. For those of you who want to speak, you're more than welcome to, so feel free to do a mic check now. I believe I have, or most of you are muted, but if you would like to see if your mic works, just say hi.
Hi.
Hi, Katie. I can tell your voice. And yes, I am recording.
You rock.
You do. All right, well then, if we're not going to do a mic check, or if everyone's happy with their mic check, let's go ahead and get started. So I already said this, I know, but make sure that you're signing in, that you're sending me a chat with your first and last name for extra credit. When I'm speaking, if you could please mute your microphone to reduce background noise. I don't hear anything, so I believe everybody has muted themselves, so good job. And make sure that you exit full screen. Some of you might have to do this to access all the navigation buttons. So you should be able to send chats, mute your microphone, unmute your microphone. So make sure that you exit full screen if you can't see those buttons. And I already asked all of you to say hi if you want to use your audio. Okay, just gonna set some ground rules and expectations. Make sure you participate and ask questions. These study sessions, they're for you. They're not for me to sit here and lecture you, even though I have to, that's part of it. I wanna hear you, or I wanna see chats from you. I want you to participate and really take this opportunity to ask questions that you've been putting aside, or you just have been scared to ask. This is a respectful and friendly environment. Which is the second expectation. Be respectful of others' questions and their abilities. We are all very different learners. We all learn in different ways, at different speeds. Even me, I'm working on my master's right now, just to tell you a little bit about me, and it takes me forever to write papers. I swear, I must be the slowest writer in all of the class, but I also respect myself for that, and you guys should too. Everybody works at a different pace, and if you're getting it done, that's what is the most important. I hear somebody said that there's tapping on my end, so let me see if, I wonder if it's my headphones. Is that better? Okay. Anytime, if you hear me making any noises that are weird, or I think there's a misconnection in one of my wires on my headphone, and I think that's what that might have been. So please make sure that you let me know if there's something annoying in the background from me. All right, so our agenda for today, we're going to spend 15 minutes on note-taking tips. So this class I know is really, really text heavy, so we're going to try to focus on what you should take notes on and what you should not. So we'll be doing note-taking tips for the first 15 minutes. And this lesson is going to cover, it's very broadly, the age of Jackson. I'm not going to necessarily go over the particular lesson. If you do want to go over certain things in the lesson, then we're going to have time to do that. But we're going to focus first on note-taking. And then we'll do some Q&A, time for questions, 15 minutes. And then we'll go into the second half, which is just basically going to be some other study tips for this course. And again, we're going to be trying to focus on the age of Jackson. I'll be using examples from this particular lesson. But again, if you want to ask any specifics, feel free to chime in. And then at the end, we'll do another time for questions, 15 minutes. So we're looking at about an hour. Come and go as you please. If you have to cut out early, that's fine with me. If you need to catch up later, this is being recorded, so I can send you the link if you feel like you need to finish watching the rest of this at another time. Okay, so let's get started with the readings. There are 86 pages in this particular lesson, and that is very long. That's even a little bit longer than most other parts of the US history classes. So how long should it take you to read a lesson? What I try to do is I try to average about 40 minutes to an hour, including all of the practice work. So if you notice, and we'll take a look at this a little bit later in this study session, there are practice questions, and there's items that you need to click on, like videos that you need to watch and keywords that you need to read in a pop-up box. Make sure that you're reading all that. Those are really important, and everything that's that is going to help you remember information or review information, please make sure that you are completing that. So I want to take a poll right now, and I want you to answer through chat. How long have you noticed that it takes you to finish a reading in this class? I'm curious because I sit through and try to time myself, and I try to read at a slower pace. So I have actually gone through the Age of Jackson and timed myself, and at the maximum, it's an hour. At the minimum, it's 40 minutes. So how long has it taken you to read a lesson, an entire lesson from very beginning to end? And have you ever timed yourself? So let's take a moment. I want to take a poll, and please answer through chat. How long has it taken you? How long does it take you to read one of these lessons? And have you ever timed yourself? If you want to send me a private message, you can. You don't have to share with everybody else. You can send me a private message. I won't say your name. I'll just say your answer. How long do you think it would take you to read 86 pages? Okay, so we have one student saying that it takes them about 60 minutes or longer. Anybody else out there think that it takes them about 60 minutes or longer on average to read? Somebody said it took about 45 to 50 minutes when going through the class. Okay. So yeah, for now, and again, feel free to send me a chat message if you decide that you want to answer. But yeah, it looks like it's taking about an hour. So keep that in mind. And an hour is a really long time to read something, anything, even for me as an adult. And as an adult student myself, I can't sit down for an hour. So we're going to take a look at how to conquer these large chunks of reading. So the thing that you should do really is focus on dividing the reading into different sections. If you already do this, this is great. And who knows, you might be doing this and you don't even know that you don't realize that you're doing this. So this is a great reading strategy. So for example, read 43 pages in the first session of your, so sit down in one session and read 43 pages. And then in a second session, read another 43. You don't have to do this all within the span of an hour. What you can do is in the morning, read about 21 pages. So sometimes the text, there's only like a sentence or two on a page, and sometimes there's more, so it varies, but read 21 pages and then take a 10 to 15 minute break. Maybe get up, walk around, do some jumping jacks, take your dog for a walk around the block, play with your kitty cat, clean, do a chore for 10 or 15 minutes, get away from the computer. Make that your time. Then come back, read another 22 pages and take another 10 to 15 minute break. So again, go through this in a cycle. read pages, take a break, get away from your computer, do something that's going to give you energy, or if you're stressed, something that's going to relax you, and then go back and read another 22 pages, take a 10, 15-minute break. So between those two chunks of reading, what you want to do is take a break. Take a longer extended break. Take a half hour or 1 hour break if you need it. So again, something maybe away from the class. If you feel like you're fine and you can focus on a different class, maybe you can work on a different class. Maybe that's your break. But if you feel like you just need to, relax your eyes, then take, that half hour or hour break to be outdoors or whatever. It makes you feel better about coming back and reading. So after your half hour break or your hour break, do the same thing. Read 21 pages, take a break, read another 22 pages and take a break. So you should be able to complete the reading easily in one day. And at this pace, you can probably do a couple different lessons in a day. So once you've completed the reading, don't stop there. Complete the section quiz. So if you notice at the end of every lesson, there is a quiz, and the more refreshed your mind is, so basically the more fresh this information is in your mind, the better chance you're going to have of passing a quiz. So don't read this and then leave. Read it, sit down, take your quiz. And that should help you to pass those quizzes. Now, I'm going to give you some other study tips, but for now, do this section. It's called chunking. Chunk into different parts of your, chunking your reading into different sections. So does anybody have any other things that they do, any other tips that they'd like to share with us? Again, feel free to send it to me in a private chat, or you can share it with the rest of the class. But how do you tackle these readings? I'm just curious. Okay, we're going to go ahead and move on. If it's too much reading and you feel like you need some assistance, we do have the text-to-speech option. So if you're reading, the example you see on the screen, it says why it matters. If you click on that text-to-speech option, you can actually have it read it to you. So if you feel like you just need a break, sit back, relax, enjoy the storyteller. How many of you have used this option, or better yet, how many of you had no idea that we had this option? While you think about that, I'm going to move over to the actual class itself, and we'll take a look at that really quick. Katie. Yeah, I don't know about you guys, but I love having stuff read to me. I've always liked it. That's why I like books on CD, books on audio CD. I just dated myself. Books like audiobooks, I love it. That's why I love like news radio or anything on the radio that involves storytelling. I really like it. So there is no shame in using text to speech. Most of us, even as kids, we like being read to. So let me share a new screen. And we are going to take a look at the text to speech in person. Well, not in person, but we're going to see how it works. Shoot. Let me try this again. Shoot, for some reason it's not letting me, let me try a different lesson. It's not letting me skip through the lesson. All right, here we go. So let's use the text to speech option. And all you have to do here is click on the play button. So click on text to speech, click on the play button, and it will read to you. I'm not sure if you can hear my audio or not. But if you can, great. If you cannot, then what you're seeing, what's highlighted, is what it's reading to me. And so what you can do is you can stop it, you can play it. Oops. You can do this, you can change the settings to read slower, medium, or faster. You can choose a color that you want the text to be highlighted. It looks like you can even translate it. That's awesome. I did not know you could translate it. So please make sure to use that option if you feel like the readings are just getting to be a little bit too much. So any questions about the text to speech? All right, let's talk about what kind of notes we should be taking. Vocabulary is always important. It helps you remember keywords in the quiz questions. So if you notice, if you've started taking the quizzes already in this class, the vocabulary is gonna come up in the questions themselves. So one example from the age of Jackson is the word nullification. And the word nullification is in a quiz question. And if you don't know what nullification means, then you're not going to understand the question itself. So if you feel like you really need to take notes, if anything, take it on the vocabulary, and then I will tell you what other notes you can take. But definitely start with the vocabulary. And whoops, I think I'm missing. Nope, no, I'm not. Take it on the vocabulary. That's going to help a lot. So if you look on this page, this says Calhoun champions nullification. And nullification is highlighted. If you click on that when you're in your class, it will actually, the definition itself will come up. And it actually has it in the text. It says nullification, which meant that the states could nullify or void any federal law deemed unconstitutional. So vocabulary is definitely something you should be taking notes on. Make sure you are definitely completing the practice questions. So the practice questions are embedded throughout the lesson, and the lesson itself is chunked into different sections. And at the end of each section, there are questions that are called guided practice. Sometimes they're called independent practice that you need to be completing. The reason is because these guided practice questions are actually what's on the quiz. So if you do these, you're gonna pass the quiz, no problem. Easy peasy, you're gonna pass. So let's take a look at what that looks like. I have a screenshot here that shows you what that guided practice looks like. It asks a question. It shows you if you get the answer wrong. But I'm going to go ahead and show you what it looks like from your class. So I'm reading through. I'm going to just make pretend I'm going to go through here, and I'm reading. Here's one of the things that you should be clicking on, these checkpoints. It asks you questions, and then if you click on it, it says show me, and you can see the answer. But the practice, there you go. So here's a practice question at the end of this section. And again, read through the question, answer it, click on check answer, and it will give you a hint. It will tell you if you got the answer. It will definitely tell you if you got the answer right or wrong. And then if you got it wrong, it tells you, it gives you a hint. So let's see, let's try again. Maybe it's answer B. I'm not reading them, so we'll see if, oh, look at that, I got it lucky. And then it'll say correct, and then it explains the answer. So please make sure that you are doing those. So if you notice, there's a couple more. I wonder how many times it's gonna let me try. Okay, it tells me the answer there. So make sure that you are doing those. If you get them wrong over and over and over again, those are the things that you have to take notes on. Take notes on these practice questions, mainly what you missed. That means that you need to practice, or you need to go back and read a little bit more about this particular topic. And then use these notes in the vocabulary for your quizzes. I don't mind at all. It's not cheating to me. I mean, the class is there for you to be able to learn, and I want you learning. So therefore, if you have your notes and your vocabulary for your quizzes, please, please use them. You've put in the time and the work. Feel free to use those. And then there's a review section. It looks like this at the end of the lesson. It summarizes the important parts of the lesson, so please make sure you're reading that. I know that there are some things that you feel like you can skip through. The review and the guided questions, those are not what you can skip through, because again, these are things that are going to be on the quiz at the end of the section. All right, so time for questions. What questions do you have about note-taking? So what do you think you need to ask me about note-taking? Can I really use, for example, can I really use my notes on the quizzes? Yes, definitely. Please use those for your quizzes. I want you to succeed. What questions do you have about the class? For example, is there a final exam? And do you have any other questions? Now is the time to ask.
I have a question.
Yes.
My question is, are you allowed to look up the answers on the internet if you don't know them?
No. Good question. I do have students who do this, and the reason you cannot do this, I know that in real life that is a resource, but because this is an exam and all of the questions come from the class, you are expected to use the class for your answers. Otherwise, everybody would just be able to go through and look for questions online and not even read any of the content. It essentially is called cheating. So good question. Do not use the internet. And honestly, you might not even find the right answer, because the questions are structured for this class in particular. So you might not even find the right question. It's just going to take you so much longer to find the answer in an online source than it's going to, straight from the class itself. So very good question. Thank you for asking. Okay, any other questions? Please feel free to, you can ask me, you can do it through audio, or you can send me a group chat or a private chat. So again, feel free. Do you have any other questions like, who do I contact to get a transcript? I can answer that as well. We'll take a couple of minutes here, see if anybody has questions or comments. Comments are allowed as well. If you have a comment about the class, feel free to comment away. Okay, so if we don't have questions, again, if you want to ask a question later, that's fine. If nobody has any questions, we will move on to the next part of the class, which is about other study tips that you may find important. Always, always, always review what you missed on your quizzes. So let's say you fail a quiz and you're not sure why. Well, you can look at what you missed and why. So let's take a poll. Do you review what you missed? I'm curious to know how many of you actually go back and see what you answered correctly, what you missed, and do you even know how to do this? So if you take the quiz, do you know how to review what you missed? Please respond through chat. Again, you can do this either privately through the audio or in a group message. So how many of you review what you missed, and do you even know how to do this? And I know, personally speaking, I always try to review what I missed in my master's classes, but sometimes I'm just in a hurry. I'm like, I gotta hurry up and I gotta, just move on with the class. And that's fine, but if you notice that you keep kind of doing the same things over and over again, or you keep scoring really low, then you really should go back and review what you missed. I neglected in one of my last classes to read some of my feedback on my some of my professors' feedback on my papers, and I noticed I kept missing that and kept making the same mistakes. And I finally went back and I read all of his comments on all my papers, and I started doing a lot better because of that. So sometimes I was just too busy, and then I went back and I read all the comments and the feedback, and I looked at what I missed, and I did so much better. So just a little personal experience there about looking to see what you missed and why. Okay, so if we don't have any questions about that, we're going to go ahead and move on. Again, take notes on what you missed. So go back, review the quizzes, and take notes on what you missed. Review that topic for your retake. So you can always retake, and I believe it's set to about 4 retakes that you can automatically keep redoing the exam. But if you've done it 4 times and you're still not passing, there is a problem. So contact your teacher, contact me. Some of you might have a different US history teacher, but contact me through chat and let me know, say, hey, I really need help with this. I don't know what I'm missing. I don't know why I keep failing this exam. And then of course, if you can't retake your quiz, let me know, because you've probably hit the maximum number of times you can retake the quiz. So feel free to contact me through chat from, I put form, from your class if you cannot retake your quiz. So the screenshot there shows an example of when you look to see what you missed on your quiz, of what it shows you. So this one has in particular a question about the Indian Removal Act, and the answer was incorrect, and it does show you the correct answer. It's not always going to be the same questions. Oh, whoops. Apparently I accidentally hit pause share. I apologize about that. So let me go back and all right. So I think I stopped sharing right about here. Always review what you missed on your quizzes, and contact me through chat from your class if you can't retake your quiz. And there's the example of the quiz itself and the feedback that it provides to you. Okay, here are some other tips. We're not going to dive, in depth into these, but just basic ideas of what to remember and how. And in future study sessions, we'll do this in a little bit in greater detail. But these are just some general ideas on what to remember and how, because history and social studies in general, and these tips might even help in other classes, but with social studies in general, dates are not as important as the big ideas. In social studies, you want to, okay, sorry, so you can't see my notes. All right. Thank you. Thank you for telling me that. I appreciate it, ladies. Okay. What about now? Okay. Whew. Okay. Sorry about that. Thanks for keeping me in check, everybody. All right. So what to remember and how. Dates, again, they're not as important as the big ideas. In social studies, yes, there are certain dates that are very, very important to remember, like when did the United States get its independence from Britain, when the Constitution was signed. Years are not as important right now, though, as the big ideas. What is the main idea, and why is it so important? For example, the word nullification that came up earlier is in this particular lesson. Why was it so important? Okay, you know what nullification means, but why was it so important in this lesson, in this time period? Why? And you can do this for any topic. Why is blank? Why is this concept so important? and think about how these ideas connect to the greater story of US history and the other lessons before. So all these lessons build on each other because it's history and you need that past in order to create the present. So how does this connect to the last lesson? Think about things like that. Big ideas, what are the big ideas, and how does it connect to the greater story of our history, of US history? Okay, number 2, notes are helpful, just not all the time. I know this class is already reading heavy, and the last thing I want you to do is sit down and take notes nonstop. So notes are helpful, but just not all of the time. Try to focus on what you're reading, what you're watching, or what you're listening to without interruption or taking notes. And I learned this a little bit later on in life, and I realized that once I stopped taking notes and really started paying attention to what was being said, I was learning a lot more because I was enjoying it a lot more. I know, and again, I know some of you, and I used to be like this, are very important to take, like it's very important to take notes because it keeps you on task, and that's fine. But again, when you're reading through this class in particular, it's just really hard to keep up with the amount of work, and in addition to that, notes. So take notes on what we talked about before, vocabulary and what you missed on the practice questions and quizzes, and you should do well. And then some other studies tips for this class. Here's a warning. There are 3 writing assignments at the end of semester 1. If you're in quarter 1, this doesn't apply to you, but it does apply to quarter 2. There are 3 writing assignments at the end of the semester. They are worth 20% of your overall grade. So if you're teetering on like if you're teetering on a 60% and you decide you don't want to do these assignments or you get really low grades, you're going to have to redo them until you pass the class because they are worth a very, very large amount. They're worth a large percentage of your overall grade, 20%. A couple of weeks ago, we did go over this writing assignment, and I think we'll do another lesson again, but that video is available, and so are the notes, or sorry, the notes are available, not the video, for those particular writing assignments. So contact me if you need help at any point during those writing assignments, and then if you need the link once you get to those writing assignments, because I did give an example of a really well written it's regarding a thesis. So I gave an example of a really good thesis that was written by one of our students. So yeah, just keep an eye out for those last 3 assignments, really big part of your grade. And there is no final exam. Those writing assignments take the place of your final exam. So it's just the writing assignments. Do well on the quizzes, have a good grade leading up to those writing assignments, and you'll be just fine. And again, reach out to me if you need help. Whether it's those writing assignments or any assignments, just reach out to me through your class. And time for questions. So it looks like we're actually way ahead of schedule. What questions do you have about the activities or the study tips? And what other types of study sessions would you like to see in the future for this class and for any social studies classes? Feel free to chime in through audio, private chat, or a group chat. So any questions about, and it could also be about this lesson, is there a topic in the age of Jackson that it just is not very clear, it's a little muddy? Do you have any questions about the lesson itself? I think about the note taking. And I'm curious to know, how many of you, oh, sorry, was somebody talking?
Yeah, I have a question. What if you get a question on one of your quizzes that's not in the lessons you just learned?
Sorry, can you say that again, because it was a little hard to understand, to hear?
My bad.
It's okay.
Said I have a question. Mine is, I've had a question on a couple of my quizzes sometimes that I've had to answer, but I can't find, I have no notes on the question that's asking me. How am I supposed to find the answer to that?
Ask me if you feel like you already went through the class and you looked for the answer and it's not there. Feel free to ask me. I mean, it could be, so these classes are written by another company, and I know sometimes they do go in and change some of the they do go on a change of content. So maybe they haven't updated the question to match the content. So if you feel like there's something that wasn't covered or you can't find the answer, please contact me. That's why I am here. I know that I'm not always online. I'm on Monday through Friday from 9 to 5. And I'm not on the weekends, but at least if you send me a chat, I'll message you as soon as I get back. So if you have messaged me at night, I'll get back to you in the morning. If you message me on a Friday, I'll get back to you on a Monday. So does that help at all?
Yes, it does.
Okay. Yeah, and it's not, I have had a student tell me before, like, I don't remember this question being in the actual lesson. So if that happens, please let me know. And which brings me to the next thing is, how do you contact your teacher? How many of you know how to contact me or contact any of your teachers? So feel free to respond via audio, through the chat system, private message, totally up to you. And yes to the student, I will email you the link. One student said, email, text, or call. Those are all great things, and I will give you my information at the end of the class. So you don't have to write anything down. I can just send you a copy of this presentation and the video itself. So yes, you can email your teacher, you can text, or you can call. Great ideas. How many of you know how to send your teacher a chat message? Just curious, can you guys please send me a chat and say, I don't know how to send you a chat from the class if you don't, or I already know how to send a chat. Please let me know. If you can do it privately, that's fine. Okay, I'm gonna switch over and show you how to do that. So this is basically what your classes look like. And from your class, over here on class info, so there's this little tab over here. If you click on it, so let's say you're in the middle of doing something and you want to contact me. If you click here, it says who your teacher is. If you click on contact details, there's two options. You can send me an email and you can send me a chat message. So the red dot means I'm not online. I'm not available. If I'm available, it'll show a green dot. Even if I'm not available, send me a chat because I'll get it the next day. So I'm going to click on this chat bubble here. And that's how I'm going to send myself a chat. And you can just down here, you can actually attach something. If you wanted to attach a file, you can do that. You could, send me an emoji if you want to. And then of course, type in your message. Hi, I need help with 2.3.1. What does nullification mean? You guys are going to get sick of that word, but you're going to have a new word today. All right, so hit enter, or you can hit this button here, and that sends me the chat. Because I'm not online, I'm not going to see it right away, but when I log in, I will see it and I will be able to respond to you. If for some reason, so teachers have 24 hours to respond to your chat. That's Monday through Friday during regular school hours. If for some reason your teacher's taking longer than 24 hours, reach out to someone else. So reach out to your academic coach or reach out to your advocate and say, hey, I don't know if my teacher's getting my chats. Can you reach out to them for me? Or can you verify with them that they got my chat? Sometimes the chat system some days it just might not work. So maybe they didn't get your chat, or maybe they're on vacation and they have a substitute. So make sure that you are contacting someone else if your teacher does not get back to you within 24 hours. If you send it like late on a Friday, a Saturday, or Sunday, then your teacher might not get back to you till Monday. So keep that in mind. All right. And last but not least, here is all of my contact information. Now you know how to send a chat. There's my email address. It's kind of long, but once it's in your email, you won't have to type it ever again. Make sure that you spell my last name with a Z and not an S, because I will not get it if it's an S. My phone number, that first phone number, I cannot get text messages there. That is just my office line or my work number. But you can send me a text message at the second number there. I get text messages and phone calls there. And then my work hours are Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Eastern. I'm in Maine. So does anybody have any further questions? And does anybody want me to send them the link to this presentation? Let me know now through chat. Or you can also use the audio option. Yeah, so that picture somebody just, that picture was taken in Durango, Colorado, and I used to be a river guide, a whitewater river guide, and not my son. I don't have a kid, I don't have any children, but that's one of my best friend's children, and his name's Andrew, and he was having such a great time that day. He was getting splashed, and well, he wasn't swimming, but I was swimming. So yeah, that's a picture of me when I was a raft guide. All right, well, before you log out today, please make sure that you are giving me your first and last name so that I can apply extra credit. And if we don't have any further questions, then you may go ahead and exit this chat or this session. There are a couple students it looks like that need a link, so stick around and I will go ahead and send you that link. Thanks, everybody. Have an awesome day. Oh, sorry, Kanisha. I'm gonna actually, I'll send that to you through your class chat, just because I haven't finished recording this. So, so I will just send that to you through our class chat.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much for coming. Thank you very much, Arlene. Have a great weekend. Thank you, Katie.
Thank you.